Memories light the corners of my mind. Misty watercolored memories of the way we were. Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind, smiles we gave to one another for the way we were. Hi guys, welcome to Bella's Bargains. My name is Amy. Guess what today is? It's another challenge day. So today is, just like I promised yesterday, it's everything 2024 top crafts. So these are the top 5 crafts of mine from 2024. And it is a, I don't have the crafts here because everything's back in America. So let's see, you're gonna see different hairstyles, you're gonna see different clothing because I just left in my intro for each one of the crafts and they're in my top 5. So I'm curious, how many of you are gonna remember these top 5s? But before we get into mine, let's talk about this. This is brought to us by Lady Red Crafting and Our Gray House, 2 of my favorite channels. By the way, if you, Our Gray House, I'm having a blank right now. Anyway, she does a watercolor thing on Instagram, it's so cool. She paints a little watercolor and she tells information about it. It's one of my favorite things. I think it's super cool. I kind of want to steal the idea. I'm not going to, but I want to. Anyway, so this is just like it's a fun challenge because we've already done all the work. We just had to put it all together. So part of what mine that you're going to see here is me really learning. I'm still learning so much because I've been diving into how to do videos better and really learning it and teaching myself this craft. So today was a fun one to do, so you have to let me know what I think. All right, what do you think? It's a little bit long. They're all gonna be a little bit long, I'm guessing, because I didn't revoice mine over. I left my voiceovers in. Yeah, okay, well anyway, speed through, I don't care, fast forward, it's fine, right? You will not remember any of them, Ferdinand, you weren't there for any of them. Oh yeah, you were, oh no, you weren't. You weren't here for, well, no, you weren't here yet, I don't think. No, I think you was. Okay, anyway, but I'll let you watch it. You let me know. Okay, guys, so enjoy this. I'll come back and say goodbye at the end. So farmhouse, so cool. But this might be my favorite piece right here. So, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do what I have done here. So let's talk about it. It's 2 wreaths. All right, I've always thought these look like a bicycle wheel, right? But they really look like a bicycle wheel when you do this to them. So I'm gonna show you how I did this. Do you not love this in the center? I just can't decide. Watch how I made this. I have got my 2 bicycle wreaths, I guess, is what bicycle frames. So I'm going to take this drawer pull, whatever you want to call it, and I have to take there's like a little nut on there and a cap thing. I don't know what you call them. Anyway, I just take the nut off, put the bolt through, and then screw the nut on. And then I'm just making sure that this is good and tight because I don't want it to come off. Then I'm going to put the next one on, and here at first I was like, wait, Amy, no, you can't put the nut here because the other wreath's just going to fall through. So I'm like, oh, no, the nut has to go on the inside to keep the distance there. So I take it off, and then I put it to the inside, and I screw it on just enough so that when I put the wreath on the back end of the nut, it's flush because, of course, it's going to hang on a wall. So I don't want to scratch or anything. And then I just plop some hot glue in there just to protect it and to hold it into place. I don't know that I showed when I put the hot glue in there, but I put a whole bunch of hot glue in the center there. Now I'm going to take some zip ties, and I tie equally one half and then the other half. See, I just went across the line there, and the zip ties are to the back of this wreath. So I'm going to go around, and every other spoke, I'm going to zip tie. So I'm going to watch me do that a little bit here. And then after I did that, actually, I realized that oh, I'm only going to zip tie half the wreath. So every other one I've done the right in half ones, and then I went every other one. So at this point, I'm going to have 4 zip ties on is what it's going to amount to. And then I've got a nice gap on the one side. It's open, and then this side is zip tied shut. I hope that is making sense. Anyway, you just split the wreath in half. Okay, so here's where I start to put one here, and I'm like, oh, I think I put it on, and then I cut it off, and I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go ahead and have the gap on the one side. At first, I was thinking I was going to zip tie it all the way around. So I do that, I look at it, and I'm like, oh, nope. It's distorting it and not in the right way. So I end up cutting that one off and leaving half of it open. But right here is when I put it all together at first. So I'm going to cut it off, and I go back to just the half of the wreath is zip tied, and it's a much better look. Okay, so once I establish that right here, I think is where I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut, ba-bam, there we go. Boom, off we go. Once I've established that and I know that that's what the design is, then I'm going to deal with. Okay, so now, is this where I put the hot glue on? Yeah, it is. There we go. I'm plopping a whole bunch of hot glue in the center there. That's to, first of all, keep it together and also to protect the wall. So now I'm going to cut off the ends of the zip ties. They're on the back side. All those tails are on the back side of the wreath. They're going to get covered anyway with the florals, but didn't need them sticking out. I'm going to flip it back around, and I'm going to start arranging my florals. So first I lay them out. How do I want them to lay out on the wreath? And then I start putting them in. One of the best parts about this is because of the pressure in the spokes where I've zip tied, these go in sort of pressure weave into this, and it works out really, really, really nicely. And then there's the wreath charm thing, and that's going to be the my little decoration on there that has a bicycle on it, which is just absolutely perfect. So we can just watch me here sort of weave these in and out here. And then when I go to put the wreath on, I cut a piece of wire and I flip it over, and I was like, oh yeah, they come with their own wire taped to the back. So I end up using that, which of course is black wire, so it worked out perfectly. Anyway, I love this piece. You can go ahead and watch me arrange these in here. I love my choice of floral picks here. And you'll notice my floral picks were basically the same in all of them. So these that I'm putting in right now are the same series that I used in my rustic planter box, and the ones over there with the magnolias on them are the same ones that I used in my resin vase one without the big magnolias on them. Anyway, they're beautiful floral picks. Anytime I see them, I will pick them up just because they're just really beautiful, and they're super, super good. They're not cheap, cheesy. They're beautiful. And if you hunt at the Dollar Tree, you can find that stuff. Okay, I'll let you guys watch the end of this. Don't forget to tell me in the comments which one of these was your favorite. I love them all. I don't know, the bicycle wreath. But then I look at the rustic box, so I don't know. Okay, doesn't matter. You guys tell me which one is your favorite. And I'll be back to sign off. This is so cool. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. These are, I think, from 2 years ago that they sold the little knobs, door knobs, handle, door pulls, whatever you want to call them. But the thing is, like I said, when you see something there, you pick it up. Actually, I think Minnesota Mickey sent me these. But when you see them, pick them up because you just don't know what you're going to use them in. But if it's a really cool item and it's worth more than $1.25 anywhere else, then buy it. So I just want to talk about this. I zip tied those two ends together, right? But I wanted you guys to understand why. Because it would not have, I couldn't have gotten all the florals on it and all that, had it look correct if I had it open all the way around. But the effect is perfect. You absolutely see a bicycle spoke here, don't you? A bicycle wheel? You sure do. And how cute is the little welcome that's a bicycle? These are the wreath charms. They sell them there all the time. The designs on them change. I think I have like 6 of them. They're in my wreath box. And I was like, there it is. There's the bicycle. But there's also, if you want to do something like this and incorporate a bicycle into it, there's also a spring garden one that has, it's like a little welcome sign and there's a bicycle hanging off. It could easily be painted whatever color. So do you not? Are you not in love? Because I am. This is going to go up on my front porch. I'm so in love with it. Also, though, I want to talk to you guys about the picks here because that's super important. The picks that you choose. These were in their spring last year, I think, and these come out every once in a while. These are the absolute best picks they have. There's ones that have like the lavender and the yellow, and then there's just different ones. Hey, Friday, kitty, kitty, kitty. Jax is picking on Friday out there. So anyway, love this. I hope you love this too. I think this little thing is just the cutest little embellishment on it. It's absolutely beautiful, stunning, all those things. I love it. I'm in love with all 3 of my, but not this one. Okay, but the next one I'm going to show you is probably one of my all-time favorite crafts that I've done. And it's just so adorable. And it's such a simple design, but it's just perfect. So it's this, like, are you in love? Because I am. Well, excuse me, but I think you've got my chair. Yeah, there you go. All right, so this was an ugly, and I mean an ugly brown varnished piece of doll chair is what it was. So let me show you how it started, and then we'll come back to this. Here is this cute little like doll chair. It was $3.49, but I got it half off. And then it had this piece of wood hammered onto it for the seat, and that wasn't going to work for what I want to do, so I removed that. And it's like, it's got like a varnish, glossy cover on the stained wood, and I'm removing the nails right here. And I want to sand that down so that I can do some distressing and painting on this. And so I have a vision of making it look like this really old piece of furniture that's been around for hundreds of years. So I've got to get some paint on it. And what I'm wiping it down. I've sanded. I'm going to wipe it down. There's still some varnish on it. Didn't really care. That's going to add to helping me when I'm pulling some of the paint off of it after I paint it, if that makes sense. So this is Misty Blue Acrylology Dollar Tree paint. And I love this color. I think of it more like a periwinkle, like that crayon periwinkle color. But I'm going to paint the whole chair
in a very light coat. You can see there's still some wood shining through. Don't care, that's fine. I'm just a light coat. And now I've got Elmer's glue, but my glue had like separated. In the end, this all worked to my advantage because I was going to do a crackle effect. It didn't end up really doing a very good crackle effect, but enough to get sort of the results that I want. So I'm just going to paint the glue all over, and then I'm going to use the paints that I have there on the screen are white and eggnog. And these two colors I'm going to plop on my thing and just simultaneously swipe through them and paint them on so that I'm not getting one specific color. I'm just getting sort of this mixture of the two colors and right over the paint. And I'm going to do this on the entire chair. So it takes a little bit of time because you got to turn and then Elmer's glue and then paint. And then this is the final, is from above doing the top layers of everything. So final Elmer's glue and paint. And so I don't let the Elmer's glue dry, by the way. I'm like putting it on and then just painting over it. There's no white in this glue though because it's separated. So it's like more glycerin. I think that's the right stuff. Anyway, doesn't matter, it worked. And so I'm just gonna put the final coat on the top there. Again, this is that white and eggnog sort of mix. I really like this color. It's like it brings it to like this off-white but light beige. I don't know. And you get dimension because you're mixing the colors but not fully mixing them, so you'll get more white in some areas and more of the eggnog in other areas, which is perfect, exactly what I want. So after this dries, now I'm going to start sanding. And look at that. See chunks come off? That's where they're still varnished, which is perfect because it just gives me this, like I said, this chair has been around for hundreds of years, and now the paint's been chipping off, and it was wood and it was blue and now it's white, and it's just like, so I love this. I think it's such a great effect. The chair already looks a thousand times better. So I'm just going to keep sanding and getting it to where I want. And by the way, on some of the areas I did add a little Mod Podge just to hold it down because I didn't want to all peel off, right? And then these are just little pieces that I've cut off of signs because I've got to get across on the seat area so that I can do some weaving. And so these two little, they're just MDF sticks, but they're going to work just fine, right? Nobody's actually going to sit on this. So I'm going to paint those with that same thing, that white and eggnog, just a light coat on those, let them dry, and then I'm going to wood glue them down to the seat. So now I have 4 sides in the seat area where I can weave. So I'm going to take nautical rope. I only end up using one bundle, not even the whole thing. But I'm going to separate it, so it's going to be 3 strings after I pull it all apart. And now I'm going to start doing a crisscross weave on this thing. It's sort of hard to explain how I do it, but I'm gluing it under the one corner and I'm wrapping around. Got to get it to glue down. And I'm like wrapping around the corner, so on one side and then go in and wrap on the other side. Basically what I do is just an under-over weave on this whole thing. So once it's got it in the corner, then I'm going to go to the other corner and I go under, over, under, over. And then I'm going to go to the next side, under, over, under, over. And I played around a little bit with this. I think I actually take this off and start all over. Because I wanted to make sure that I was just doing under, over, under, over. And if you just do under, over, whether you're going over string or under wood, it works. And so what I'm trying to do is end up with a space in the center of my chair. I'm going to put a little pot in there, right? So I needed to weave this so that there was an open space in the center. So this is the best way, to start on the outside and weave towards the inside. And so once I do under, over, under, over, under, over, I go back over to the other corner. Now we're going to just start repeating, and we're weaving with the ropes that have already come across. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. You guys just play with it. If you do anything like this, you'd have to find a chair like this first, right? That's what we love about thrift flips. Will I ever find something like that? I don't know. Okay, so once I go around, and what's going to end up happening is my corners are all going to be weaved, but the center sections on all 4 sides will not be. And so all I do is I just weave each side individually. So I think I end up with, I go around 3 times on the corners. So I end up with 3, three strands on each side, and then I'm going to individually weave each side, leaving the center section. I hope that makes sense. Like here, there you go, 3. Now I'm adding another piece of rope, and all I did was untwist, twist in the new piece of rope so I didn't have a knot, and put some hot glue. So, and I'm going to put some tape on the end of mine, because now I'm going to do each side. We're on the final 3 across, sorry. Okay, now I'm going to do each side. And look at that, where I joined the 2 ropes together is perfect. So all I'm going to do my sides is, again, it's under, over, under, over, under, over, but I'm not going to go across. I'm going to stay on each side. So it's going to just weave these 3 on one side and then go back through. Watch this. Go back. See? So I'm going to fill in all 3 sides like this, and it'll leave an open space in the center, which is exactly what I'm after, because that's where I'm going to put my terracotta pot full of beautiful florals, right? On each side, I end up with 11 loops. So there was 3, 3, so I'm weaving 5 times on each side. And then once I get one side done, I just come out and weave over to the other side. You just play with this, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's just an illusion of a seat weave, basically. Here I'm going to put tape on it because I got tired of trying to pull that through. So I put some tape on the end of my rope, which made it much easier for weaving here. Okay, so I'm going to finish that up. I'm going to end up, all 3 sides are going to be weaved, and there's going to be a hole in the middle, leaving exactly what I envisioned. So I'm going to take this, and now once I'm all done, this is pretty thick. Even though I deconstructed a thing of nautical rope, it's still pretty thick, and it's got a lot of wispies, right? It's like the jute twine where there's just a lot of wispies. There, I'm counting, it's 11. And now I'm going to come over to the other side. So once I get it all done, and I have all 4 of my sides done, and I glue off my end, and I just glue it off because it's not, nobody's actually ever going to sit on this, right? So gluing off my ends works fine, FYI. Then I'm going to have to take a lighter and burn off some of the wispies, but you got to be really careful because this stuff will poof. So I was just ready. I had water nearby and a lung full of air to blow out the flames. Here's where I'm just gluing off the end. That's all I have to do. I don't need to worry about anything else. I didn't want any knots or anything to deal with. But look, you guys, look how great that looks. See, I've got all 4 of my sides have a seat weave around them, and I've got the center portion right there. So I'm going to burn it. There we go. Get rid of those wispies. And it's like poof down. But you do have to do that because it just looked kind of unfinished until you do that. And then I'm going to move on to my terracotta pot. I'm going to take pool noodle, glue that in there because that's going to be my base. It just works so much better than greenery because it holds your greeneries. And of course, this is my coconut plant liner that I love to use instead of Spanish moss because it's a lot less messy. And now I'm just going to take picks that I like in this. I was really going for sort of the green, a lighter green, very airy, very summery. And because I have the off-white and the white and that blue shining through, I'm just trying to keep with just the lighter, brighter, so not like a dark green. I went for the lighter branches. So this first one I put in, it's got a great big flower. I just put it to the back because the big flower was going to be too much. Now I'm adding in a little bit of lavender color, and I'm just going to fill it in how I see fit, and that's going to be personal choice on florals, on anything like this. And I just start adding the stuff in. I love this piece. I think it's so cute. It will be displayed in my home. And I went through and was just picking picks that had different elements of greenery. Purple and yellow, of course, I really like. I think it accented the hint of the blue that was coming through. I purposely did not use blue florals because I was trying not to make that was just like a hint of blue, right? And then once I'm done and getting my florals in there, I think it looks really cute. And then I backed away from it and I was like, oh, I think it needs something more. I added another little purple flower in the front and then these other little smaller yellow florals that were just the right size and everything. So I'm thinking it looks really good, and then I was like, oh, I need to pop a little bit of brown into the arrangement because the color of the nautical. So this is just a little bird, and it's done, and I love it. Okay, let me show you my second piece because I am absolutely stunned and in love. I hope you guys are getting a good visual on this. Let me talk about this. This vase, I told you, you can walk into any thrift store. It is the #1 go-to send your woman a dozen roses vase, right? So I think I got it, and I bought it because it was large, and I wanted a large piece to redo, and I also wanted to get something that anybody could buy. So listen, this just all goes together so well. I already had the olive picks from the Dollar Tree. I believe Minnesota Mickey sent them to me. Thank you, Minnesota Mickey. And I've had them for a while, so I was super happy to be able to use those. But can I just talk about the texture on this and how it came out? It's so phenomenal, and it was an oops, not an oops. It was like a oh wow, really? All right. So I'm going to show you how I made this. Just watch this. All right, this is just one of those great big glass vases, and I mean, I think I paid like $2 for it, but you can get them at like every thrift store you ever go to. And I wanted to do something like this where I knew it was something that everybody could copy because you can find these. But it doesn't have to be this shape or anything. Obviously, it's just glass. So this technique is incredible. It's super cool, and it was completely by accident. So I'm mixing my two greens, which complement the color on the tray beautifully. And because, of course, I always do this, I want layered effect in my coloring, not just a straight color, so I'm always doing two colors. I'm adding baking powder to it because I want to give it some texture. And this almost gives it like a cement texture when you do that. And a dauber. So obviously the dauber is because it's going to be a flowing texture. If you try to use a brush, you're going to get brush marks in there. So I was being really careful too that I didn't see circles in my texture. So you just keep dabbing, you just keep an eye on it. And so I do one full coat around it, and then I let it dry. Now the thing about baking powder is you'll have spots where you'll see the white. It didn't, for some reason, didn't get paint on top of it, or it breaks away after it was painted. It was too big a chunk of the baking powder or something. It doesn't matter. You're just going to go back over those once it dries. So one full coat. Notice I'm not doing the fluted top. I'm leaving that. I'm going to leave that glass. And so one full coat. I turned my fan on. I let it dry. I came back out. And then I just double checked where I had any like white spots that are from the baking powder, basically. So look at, it's so muted, right? It's or matte. I mean, it's not a gloss. I don't know why I put the ribbon on right here, but I did. That's okay. It should have been the last step. But I took the remainder of that gold faux leather, and I'm going to wrap the neck of it again because I want it to complement the tray, which it does beautifully. So this is the same process. I'm leaving about 1/3 of the ribbon exposed as I wrap around. So I'm overlapping. I'm not meeting it up perfectly. It's an overlap. I like this look. It gives it texture on the wrap, as if that makes sense. Like it's sort of a layered, pleated almost. I guess it's not pleated, but it gives you almost that pleated look. And I do nothing special on the end. Again, this isn't a pressure point that's going to get picked up and touched all that. So I'm hot gluing it to itself. So the faux leather hot glued to itself sticks. really well. So I just sort of pulled it down even there and glued it down. And now this step should have been second, but I'm doing it third. First I'm just a couple of those white spots. I'm dabbing a little glue on. Just a tiny bit of, not glue, paint, just to cover up some of the little baking powder spots that pop through, which is fine. And that anytime you do this, you usually have to go back and cover a spot or two of the white baking powder. Okay, so now I'm going to take my Mod Podge, matte finish Mod Podge, by the way, and a large brush. And this is important because when you put this on, you're going to see brush strokes. So you have to use a large brush so you can really manipulate how it's going to look when you put it on. These are the olive branches I'm going to put in there. So somehow my camera didn't get turned as I was doing it, turned on. But it's just heavy Mod Podge, and do you see how I'm just stroking with the structure of the vase? So I'm following the shape of the vase. So it was, up and down, not around, because it's going to change it. But here's what's going to happen. That Mod Podge dries with the paint underneath and the baking powder, and look at how incredible that is. It's gorgeous. I didn't know putting Mod Podge over that baking powder paint mixture would give me such an incredibly cool effect. Now I do, and I'm going to be doing it over and over again. So listen, creators, the lesson for you is don't ever be afraid to try, right? This is, again, when you're doing something like this, I knew I could replace it if I messed anything up, but I wasn't planning on messing anything up. I was just trying to seal in my paint, and then it was like, oh, that's amazing. That's really cool. So I've been doing this again. And it really does look like a pottery piece, except for I've left this glass up here. And I also love my choice there, just leaving the flute of it, the clear. Okay, so go in our RV when we get the RV, which we haven't yet. All right, but I think this is my favorite, and this is a really good, interesting teaching craft thing for you, because this isn't anything you're gonna see. It's something I've done actually for years. I have a lot of fun doing this, but I just found some wet Mod Podge. I did not film, but I did cover this in a final coat of Mod Podge after I was all done. But let me just show this to you. This is a crate that you get from Dollar Tree Plus. Do you guys see what that is? Yeah. It's all pictures of Marcus and I. See the inside? Look at that. Wait, which way is that picture going? There we go. It goes that way. All pictures on the sides, everything. You see that? Pretty cool, huh? Let me show you how to do that, because anybody can do it, and it's a great gift idea for grandkids or for a friend or anything like that. And it's so cheap and easy. So cheap and easy. So, ready? Watch this. Here's the wood box, $3 in the Dollar Tree Plus section. These are really cool, and there's all of my pictures. I've already pre-torn them, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm just ripping the picture out of the paper pretty simple to do. This is just straight printing paper out of, you know, just regular printing paper. And I'm just going to rip them out. Now, after I do this, I sort of do this little separation because some of the pictures are lighter than some other ones. And I want to put those in the prominent spots where they'll be seen, like on the outside sides or in the bottom of the box. So, but other than that, this is a little bit of water in there, and I'm going to add Mod Podge. So we're going to water down our Mod Podge. So this makes it easier to decoupage these on because I'm just going to dunk. So I take the picture, I dunk it in there. I'm not worried about wrinkles or anything, you guys, because that just adds to it. And I'm putting it on the box, just making sure I cover up all my wood spots. I take a little piece, you know, of photo paper there, cover that up, yeah. And then I go around, and first I do all the outside of the box, right? And then I'm going to let that dry once I get all 4 sides covered in photos. I'm going to let that dry for quite a few hours, and then I'm going to go back and sand it. So one of the things is I'm putting these on, there's these ridges in the wood because it's like planked, and so I've sort of pushed the photo into that. That's what I was just doing with my finger, just so you can, just so we don't end up with any issues with that, because we're going to, and I'm ripping a little bit here because I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, it's going to cover up a face, but if I take some off, it won't. And there I'm sort of pushing it into those grooves, right? Now we're going to add a little paper that we've already ripped off on the bottom there just to cover up our wood areas. Okay. And like I said, I did all 4 sides, and I put it up on, put it on top of something so that it would drip away from the box. So I put it on a riser, and it dripped down because it's going to drip because this is like watered down Mod Podge, right? And so, like I said, I let it dry for a few hours, and then once it was all dry, we take and we sand off all of the excess. So, sander up on the top, bam, 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 bam. You know, a little bit of elbow grease there to get that off, but once we do, we've got a nice clean edge. And then on the sides, where I'm into the corners on it, a little bit more work to it because it's Mod Podge to the wood, right, on this where it's gone up. So maybe I should have trimmed it before it dried. I don't know. It all worked out in the end for me, so it's fine. I did a little sanding, got some of it off. For the most part, it came off, and then I could cover it with what I end up, you know, the shoe polish and the stain I end up using on there. And then just going to sand off the bottom. So then I do that on all 4 sides. So this is nice and dry, and the outside sides are all done, and they look amazing. It looks so cool. Really happy with it. There again, I'm trying to get the stuff off there that's on the side. And just that's my brand new X-Acto knife. I just got at Dollar Tree, by the way. I absolutely love it. And it comes with extra blades. If you haven't seen those yet, love them. All right, there we go. Now you can see it. So see how it's into the side of the corner there? And so I just sort of pick away at it. And then I also sand it a little bit, and it's totally fine. It gets covered up in the end when we paint or stain the natural wood parts that are left on the box when we're all said and done. Okay, and now I'm going to go into the inside part after I finish all 4 sides. So again, on this one, when I do the inside, I Mod Podge first, like the sides, because I want it to sort of drip down into the bottom. Does that make sense? Because the Mod Podge is going to drip down. So I start doing the sides first, and I'm just sort of pushing it down there, and I get it all Mod Podged in, and then I put the bottom pieces on, and I saved the one picture that I like the best for dead center on the bottom of this, because it's the thing that you'll see every time, you know, you look inside of this. And so see how I'm slightly overlapping onto the bottom? And that's on purpose, because then I don't have to worry about that seam getting covered. When I cover the bottom, I can just Mod Podge up to the overlapping. I hope that makes some sense. And also, I just sort of go around the corners. So I don't Mod Podge into the corner, I Mod Podge around the corners. Also, just making it easier. And it's just straight up, and I know I'm going to sand that off. Just going to sand off the top when we're all done. So I fill this all up, and then I leave that to sit for a few hours. And then we're going to come back in and finish the box. So when I was doing the bottom here, I was sort of pushing out the excess, I mean the inside rather, I started pushing out the excess. See, I'm kind of going over it with my fingers to pull that Mod Podge down to the bottom, because I'm not going to be able to stand this up to drip. It's going to dry sitting like this. So I want to make sure that I don't over Mod Podge. I don't need any great big huge puddles of Mod Podge on the bottom. I'm just making a mess. This stuff is sticky. It's like doing paper mache, to be quite honest. So you could totally paper mache like this too. It'd be really cool, wouldn't it? Just all these printed photos of family or something like that. Okay, anyway. All right, so I'm going to finish this up. I'm just going to keep talking. By the way, while you guys are watching this, I again want to thank Kate for this challenge. It's sort of fun. And make sure to remind you guys to go visit her channel and also to go see the playlist and check out what other people have done for their Forever Love theme. How did others interpret it? I kind of liked mine. I did a little one for Jax and one's for me and Marcus. There's some fun memories in these photos, by the way. I think half the fun of this is going to be just talking about the pictures that are on here. And did you see what I just did? I threw a little Mod Podge on the wood itself, and then instead of dunking these, I'm just wiping it on the top because there's so much Mod Podge on the bottom already. So I don't want to saturate that too much. And now I'm going to add my final picture, which is my favorite one. It's when we're up in the Black Hills. Now when I do dunk, it's going to go smack dab in the middle. And voila, we're going to let that dry for a few hours. This comes out so good. I'm really happy with it. So obviously, I'm making sure that I don't have any wood holes hanging around anywhere. I take my brush and just push everything into the corners and up on the edges and everything. So make sure that it's going to adhere to the box and so on and so forth. Now we're going to sand it. So this one's easy because, of course, we're just sanding off the top. But after we do that, we still have to cut the holes in the side. All I do is take an X-Acto knife and cut into it. There, it's all sanded. Now we're going to cut out the holes and just sort of cut around it, and then take a little tiny nail file and just clean up any edges if there's anything to clean up. So the X-Acto knife does a pretty decent job here of cutting that out. And this looks so good already. So, by the way, you could just leave it natural wood right here if you wanted to. I think it looks really good with the darkened, but this is an option. You could just leave it like this. It also looks pretty cool like that too. Maybe it looks better like this. I don't know which way. What do you guys think? Should I have left it natural, or was it better with putting the black on there? Okay, so I'm just cleaning up the edges on the little handle cut out there. And then we're going to go to, this is where you don't have to do this step. So this is the stuff I bought at Hobby Lobby. I know it's not from Dollar Tree, but I wanted to try it. It's a wood stain, just like I used the shoe polish for. But this one is an actual wood stain, and it's smoke gray. And I thought the gray would look really good with this because of the black and white photos. But as I'm doing it, see all those spots? There was like too much wood glue on this, which doesn't take the stain. And it looked really shoddy, and then the gray looked kind of odd, I thought. So in the end, after I do all this and I get it all stained up and I let it dry, I come back with, I just take like black shoe polish because I thought I would just sort of outline it. And then I was like, no, I think I just need to just do it all black. And by the way, I do take a baby wipe and clean off every time after I put this stuff on because some would get onto the photos. So I end up just doing shoe polish all the way around it and really making it dark, and then I loved how it came out. So it didn't change it at all by putting the stain on it. It was just a step that I didn't need to do. But, you know, I thought one thing was going to look right, and then that didn't. So there you go. Which one is your favorite? I think this one is mine.
I get it. It's a little time consuming because you got to wait for everything to dry. But still, like, it's so simple and easy. And you can do this on a canvas. So years ago, I did a great big canvas for our condo on the lake. And I should do something like that again because it was so cool. But I put this great big canvas. It was like a thrift store. I'll do it as a thrift store. Well, that's exactly what I should do. Anyway, it was a thrift store canvas, and I just painted over no, I didn't even paint over it. Yes, I did. I think I put white behind it. And then I Mod Podged all these pictures of the grandkids on the lake you know, tubing and all the, just the same thing. Printed them out, ripped them, Mod Podged the whole thing. And then I attached clear picture frames, you know, the acrylic like magnet ones, but I glued them onto this big canvas. And then there was a full color photo, an actual photo of each kid from something on the lake. It was really, really cool. So just know that you printing photos on a regular printer, on regular paper, and you can do this kind of stuff. Marcus is gonna love this. So anyway, but just really quickly, so the stain initially, you know, I mean, I've already talked about it on the voiceover, but I guess what I want to say to everybody, you guys, it's okay. We're gonna do things and then go like, yeah, okay, no, it's not really how I wanted it to look, and then we have to fix it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's art. Crafting is art. So it's all art. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So whatever's going to make your heart happy when you do that project. So the gray was just not really cutting it for me. And there was so much glue on the wood, and glue won't take the stain, right? So in the end, doing my shoe polish. But if you don't have the shoe polish and whatever, paint. I mean, this could just as easily been chalkboard paint, right? It was easier to do the shoe polish. Okay. Anyway, the base to put her on. All right, so let's talk about Juanita. Juanita's body on the inside there is a piece of rebarb that I found that had a slight bent to it, so she kind of goes like this, but that's okay. And Juanita's, the poof of her skirt, the shape of her skirt is all wires. Her arms are all wires. Her bouquet is made with nails that I found. Her hair, I did buy that at the 22 peso store. So the hat, the hair, and the base are not trash. Her little waist belt there is the milk ringy-dingy thing. This is from another beverage container, her little necklace there. And her flowers are all made of coffee filters. And I used a little paint to do them on. So let me just show you how I made Juanita, and then we're gonna come back and talk about this a little bit. There's that base, which I've painted black with acrylic paint, putting on my gloves, and this is like 3 things of wire that are all like wound together, which I found it like that. And I'm just gonna create the head, and I'm using that piece of rebarb as like the spine, the body stabilizer, the spine, I guess. Anyway, just what we're gonna build Juanita on is on this piece of rebarb. And so it's sort of twisted together, and so I'm just removing it and kind of weaving it to get it to stay on that piece of rebarb. It's not like I'm going to hot glue this, right? This is pretty much going to be wound together and held together with wire. We're just building it. So, and I'm kind of using what I have found. So I thought the thickness of the 3 wires together was perfect for building the skull, so to speak, right? This is Dia de Muertos, so we're doing a skull, not an actual, you know, like head. So then there was this piece, which was just the right length for doing the arms and the hands. It's 4 pieces of wire. Maybe the other one was 2. Anyway, and the ends of the wire were just sort of bent, almost like the tips of fingertips. And I'm like, okay, so she only has 4 fingers. That will work. Yeah, it'll work. So I twist that around, and I'm like trying to position it so it's in the right position for where the arms would be. I did try and use a little hot glue here, which, yeah, that didn't work. So in the end, I wired on, like crisscross wired on. Anyway, I'm separating the fingers just a little bit, and I'm going to put a bend in it, like, you know, for the elbows. Like, where's Juanita's elbows at? And then there we go. I tried to, no, doesn't work. It doesn't stay, but that's okay. This was a process as I was doing this, just learning. So then I just took a single piece of wire, and I'm doing, you know, like the
conjunction wrap, right? Just crisscross around and over. Then to try and make her head look more like a skull, I was trying to, you know how the top of the skull rounds out a little bit and the bottom part is sort of in. So I was just trying to make it look more skull shaped. And then I went to work on making a face for Juanita. And so I was taking wire, did the little circle of the eye, then I'm going to wrap it, come to the other side, and put the other eyeball on, and getting it all just to stay on there. And we're just giving her her facial features of just, and 2 eyes and like the nose or the top of the jawline structure, basically. So again, this was my first attempt. I did not have needle nose, which I really need to get some needle nose, because needle nose is going to help me be a little more intricate with some of the wire stuff that I would like to make. So I'm trying to cut this off right here, and I couldn't get it to work. I think I got Marcus. Marcus showed me how to use these, so thank you, Marcus. And then I'm just fiddling with this until I get it to sort of look the way that I want it. Again, these are just representation of the eye sockets, right? And then I'm going to take another piece of wire and sort of do like the outline of the top of the jaw and the nasal cavity, basically. Boy, I worked on that left eye a lot, didn't I? Oh, well, anyway, finally get it to where I want it. So we're just going to take a smaller piece of wire and make our little face. Give up on the eye already, Amy. Goodness gracious. Oh, that's right. I ended up wrapping it around again and getting it more stabilized to where I want. I wanted the 2 eyeballs to kind of meet in the middle was my goal there. I should not have left so much of this in. Sorry, you guys. But you can hear, this is at like quadruple time, so I spent quite a bit of time on this, and I'm getting down my working with wire as we do this. So now I'm just, again, going to make that little sort of nose and the jaw line, I guess. I don't know. This is all however you perceive it or however you want to do it. Technically, I think that little round loop should have gone up for the nose. Now that I'm looking at it, going, wait, I think I did that backwards. But it doesn't matter. You guys get the idea. Again, I think this is pretty good for my first try, so I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I think I did a pretty decent job. So eventually I get it in there. Oh, I do have it going up. Good. Yeah. I was trying to put it in backwards a second ago. And I'm just squeezing it in between the other pieces of wire, like doing a little pressure fit and then just squeezing it to get it to stay. So again, no glue. We're just connecting these to make them, you know, stay in on their own, I guess is a good way to say it. Anyway, needle nose. Got to get the needle nose. All right, and so now that I've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and make the bottom half of her body. So most of these pieces of wire were basically the same length, and so I'm just taking and I'm giving this very primitive roll on the bottom. Notice I'm not really like trying to, you know, get this to be like this perfect. This is pretty primitive, which is exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm folding the wire in half, and then I'm curling it up, and I'm just piling them all right there on Juanita so that I can put them on her, around her piece of rebarb there to make her skirt. So I just get them on there, and I put one piece of wire around, and then I just sort of finagled them around to get them to be where I wanted them to be. That one piece that's off to the side was too short, so I didn't use that. I don't know how I picked up a short piece that didn't work, but that's not how I did. Anyway, so I'm just making sure they're not tangled. I'm going to evenly distribute them around her body because this is what's going to hold the shape of the lime bag that I put on her as a dress. The lime and the onion bag, I think it is. Anyway, so I just finagle with those, get them unwound, and then make sure that they're all the right length, right? Because this is going to, there is a hole in the base, a little divot in the base of that I'm going to put her in, but these still need to be basically the same with length, right? So they're all at the same place. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue her in. I did use glue here. I didn't have any other glue, you guys. So I put a ton of glue in there, which is holding, so I'm happy with it. And I stuck that rebarb in there. And see how her skirt is just coming out to the edges of her little platform perfectly. And it's just the perfect, like, base. It's like her petticoat, right? It's basically the petticoat for her dress. So I've got that all done. Let that dry. And here's my lime bag. And look at that green. It's such a beautiful green. Also would be great for a Christmas tree, but I'm using it on Juanita. And I just cut all the pieces off. I didn't, try and undo the sewing. I just cut them and used them as they were. So I'm going to get 2 pieces that are the same height, basically. And that's going to become her skirt. But now I'm not sewing or anything. We're doing this with wire. So I take a piece of wire, basically. I'm right there. I'm wrapping that skirt with a piece of wire, holding it to the rebarb to hold its shape and its form that I've created there. And then I'm going to take another piece of wire. I love this. I just think this is so cute. I absolutely in love with the skirt portion. So I take another piece of wire and I'm going to sew my 2 pieces together, basically, like weave the wire through it to make her, see that? It's like sticking a needle through there and it's going to gather it. I'm going to put the second piece on there too. So I'm going to have these 2 pieces. And of course I'm going to take that wire and I'm just going to wrap it around Juanita on her waist. And where it hits is basically at the top of the curly cues, which is perfect because we're going to put an overlay on this skirt as well. So look at that. How cute is that, you guys? Like, seriously, it's so cute. So, and then where it came together, I just sort of tucked the 2 ends under the curly cue. See how I'm just sort of tucking that green into the curly cue, the curls on the bottom of her petticoat, I'm going to call it. Okay, so perfect. Now we've got that. So here's my, I'm pretty sure this was an onion bag. Doesn't matter. Some produce came in it. And I'm going to put the back ends of the wire to the back. And this is one big straight bag, right? So I'm going to put this over her and make her top and the overlay on her skirt. So I'm going to gather it in the center. I've put that where I had that wire sticking through. I poked that through, gathered it. And then I'm going to come up to the shoulders and the forearms and gather my purple stuff there. I'm using these little clips. I thought I was going to use these little floral clips on her. I don't end up. But they're going to hold my blousing part in place. There's another wire there just to tie off the waist. And I'm fiddling with how much of it I'm pulling up to the top. And then I was going to wind these up. It breaks in the end. I'm just leaving like a little, almost like a tail, like a belt tail or something from what I wove around her for the skirt. But so the thing is, like, I was incorporating everything I was using. I was trying to incorporate it into the actual piece, right? So somehow, this became like little decorative tails on her skirt. Okay. Anyway, and then just wound them in a little bit. So now I've got leftover pieces of that green, by the way, the parts past the seams, and I'm going to cut those off and use them as little ties. There is her sleeve area and her shoulder area. So I'm going to cut little pieces of the green. There's, see, just like this little piece after where they sewed it onto the plastic part, the label. And I'm going to cut off a little piece and I'm going to tie it right there, and that gives me my cuff on the sleeve, basically. I'm going to do the same thing on the shoulders just to tie it together. I suppose if this was a real piece of clothing, it would be almost an open sleeve, like a puffy open sleeve, if you can guess what I'm saying, see what I'm saying. And I just pushed that green through the purple and then tied it up on top here. So I'm just giving myself my top part of her clothing. I'm going to cut that other piece off there and trim off and tie up that second little second shoulder bit. And if you can see, if my hands get out of the way, look at her hands. I think the hands are so cool because they're like long and bony, the fingers. Yeah, I just think it came out really cute. Juanita, I love you. And then I was going to try and use just little flowers. I didn't. I end up not using those. Okay. But now I'm going to start making the flowers. So that is water with some blue acrylic paint in it. and I'm just laying it out, and I'm going to take my finger and dab acrylic paint all over this. So I went for vibrant colors, right? So of course I do blue and the orange and the yellow, and then you're going to see me cut this up and show you how I've made my flowers. And because they're round, we're looking for squares, but I didn't waste any inch of my coffee filters. So I let them dry. These are so perfect, by the way. I love the color and the variation. Everything's great. So I'm going to cut a square out, and then I'm going to flip it over. So cut through, the folds, and then flip it over so everything is on the color side is up. And then there's one of my nails, and I'm just going to right through the middle. Push that nail through the middle. Check this out. And then just fluff them up. Look at those. Are you saying it with me right now? Like, oh my gosh. Those are so cute. So that becomes her little bouquet. Now you notice I have some white ones there too. And so on the white ones, I do take a pink marker at some point, and I just just dab the marker all over the white one, that was my intention all along. I really liked bringing the white into it as a very vibrant addition to it, and just adding that little bit of pink. I was following the colors basically that were on my sombrero that I purchased. Now another way the Dia de Muertos often have is a headband with lots of flowers. I opted for going with the sombrero just because I thought it was so dang cute, but then I sort of incorporate it with so many flowers, it's almost like she's wearing a headband of flowers too. So there's her little bouquet. Oh my gosh, this was the start of me going, I'm in love with her. And then this is how I made my flowers after that. 4 squares, dotted glue, little twist on it, and boom. Look at that. Easy as pie. Here's her belt around her skirt. Again, it's a milk tab from a gallon of milk. And I'm just going to use a little hot glue there to put it together in the back. And it gives her her little waist. And then do I add the necklace next? I think so. Yep. And then it might have also been from milk. Maybe this was non-fat and the other one, I don't know. But it was, or orange juice or something. But look, I love it when I flipped it inside out because it had those ridges. It makes it look like it's like a beaded little necklace or something. It's just I just love it. All right, so now we're going to start working on the sombrero. So when I cut my coffee filters apart, there's the portion that's like the leftover from cutting the squares. And so that's what I use to make my little flowers right here. So I fold it in half, and I just pinch and pinch and fold, put a little glue at the end of it, and look, they're like these perfect little rosettes. And then I took leftover pieces of the green from her skirting, and I would throw it in there like a leaf. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's so cute. I'm in love with little Juanita. And so I just start filling up the hat. And here's where I'm taking the pink and just taking those white flowers and adding the pink in, which, yeah, perfect. So now her hair. So I had these 4 pieces of clip-on hair that I bought at our 22 peso store, and I glued 3 of them together. And I'm going to take those 3 and glue it on the back side of her her wire skull. And then I'm going to take the front, the extra piece, and glue it on the front because I'm going to give her some hair sort of draping over. Okay. Then I come around, pull it all to the back, and there's a couple ways I could have done this, you guys. Like, actually, I let the doll sit there for like a day while I was thinking about this. Like, I don't know, how am I going to do this? So I could have just done like one long braid and flipped it up into a curly Q. That would have been, up into, one of those. Anyway, in the end, I end up I give her a braid on this side, and then I cut it off. You're going to see me cut it off. I'm trying it on with the hat here. Look how cool the hat looks, you guys. And see the greenery, like little feathers. Anyway, cut it off, and then I'm going to rubber band that piece that's left over and braid it as well and add it as a braid on the second side. And so I end up gluing it sort of on the back and wrapping it around her forehead to give me the braid across her forehead as well. Can you kind of see that? See like that? Yeah. Anyway, it works out perfectly. And then I decided to go ahead and loop these and give her the traditional, I don't know what they call that hairstyle. But it's the braid, and then they loop it up and you end up with like this circle of braid. I ended up doing that, and I liked how that worked. This was a coffee bag clip, which I ripped it off there, and at first I was going to cuff the hair, and then I was like, wait a second, this is a perfect way to attach the hat. So I glued it on the inside of the hat, and then that gave me a basis for gluing that on and also for adding more flowers. And on my sombrero, can you see I misshaped it? I pulled the one side down. I gave it more of a, not a sombrero shape, but more of a lady's kind of, you know, half up shape. And I'm just going to overload it with flowers. Just overload it with flowers. And I just think that was, yeah. You guys, I'm very happy with this piece, I gotta say. So now I'm going to mess with her hair, I think is what I'm going to do here, because I'm going to flip up those. I can't remember sometimes I'm doing this. Like, where was I in the process here? But yeah, yes, yeah. So at first I left them long and I tied this on there. And then I did decide to go back and give him the loop up. So I do that later. You could have gone either way, but I like them the way that I ended up doing it. I like that a lot better. I don't know what they call it, the loop up of the braid. So I end up doing that. I still incorporate the green on there. And then I'm looking at like, how am I going to put flowers on here? What am I going to do? So I've got to make more flowers. So what I do is I take the 2 blue, 2 orange, and 2 yellow, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm cutting them here. So you cut off, boom, I make a big square, then I cut it 4 ways, 4 squares. Remember 4 square in school? And then I cut all of the seams, flip everything the right way, and this is, then after I get all those done, I use the glue and I make my flowers. I think I show you the whole process of all 4, why, I don't know. But anyway, you get it. So I'm getting 4 flowers out of each coffee filter. There you go. Glue, then a little slight twist, and then just push it all up in the middle. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Yeah, and so easy, right? And then my little coffee filter ends, so I got 4 flowers from each one and 2 ends. I mean 4 ends, sorry. And so I just fold it in half and pinch, 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 pinch. So I got 4 little flowers and 4 big flowers from each one. All right, so now this is where I've decided to poof up her side ponytails. And so I'm going to need a piece of wire to do that, to pull it all and get it to stay, because this fake hair that I've got on there is just really silky and really slippery. It just doesn't stay very well. And I didn't have any more dang little rubber bands. I do now though, because I got them and I showed them in my haul yesterday. See, I could have used them here, but I didn't have them, so I got really creative, and I went and I was saving even my wire twists from all my produce, and so I had those, thank goodness, and I just took all the stuff off it, and I'm going to use the wire as my twisty to hold it, because now watch, I can take that, loop it up, and I'm just going to, I trim it though, I do trim it, boom, 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 give it a little trim, 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 don't want too much on the end of it, and there we go. And I'm just going to wrap that around. So the wire worked out perfectly. However, had I had the little rubber bands, that also would have worked really well. So there we go. I've got the wire. I've got my 2 little ponytails now, and I'm going to go back, color the hair. I brightened up the hair with my markers, the orange, the pink, and the blue, just really trying to get them just to more match like the vibrancy of the florals and the hat. You guys look at the hat again here. Yeah, so cute. All right, so then I'm going to add my green back onto her little ponytails, and we're going to add a couple flowers on there because that's absolutely 100% appropriate to the costumes that they wear here. So I just put my little green around, get it around there, cut it off, and I'm going to add some flowers, trimming off all the random hairs. So fold it in half and pinch it and roll. There we go. And then glue. Ba-bam. And look at that. We got a nice little flower on her hair. I love this. Okay, I think I ended up putting 3 on each one. But anyway, you get the idea. So, super cute. All right, and now I'm going to just keep going with florals. I've got all my little florals, and I'm just loading up her hat, underneath her hat, coming down the side of her, underneath her hat, down each side, just loading her up. It just, yeah, I love it. And then I'm going to start putting my florals on her skirt. And I really like just the sort of cascading of all the colors. And so I do that. I just cascade them down. Look at it. Doesn't it look really cool with the overlay of the skirts, the green, and then the purple overlaid on that? And I loved all my colors came together on this. This is with trash, people. Of course, I did on the coffee filters, you know, I was manipulating the colors. Notice the white's going in is white right now. I go back and add the pink in on the skirt part of it. But I just, I'm pretty happy with this, you guys. I gotta say. So I just continue to grow her flowers. I just take the little pink and I'm just popping it on top of it. Which you could have done that. Actually, you could do that with all of them. I wanted the complete vibrancy of the color in the other ones, which is why I did the thing. All right, she's done. What do you think?
Everyone knows Juanita. Yeah, okay, so it took a little bit. This was my first attempt at doing a trash piece of art, I would say, I guess. It's not really, I guess it's a craft. What is it? We don't know. Anyway, the elements that I incorporated in her, which you've just seen, is the wire, the wood base, the hat, the hair, the little plastic things from bottles, all the wire, the nails, which I love my bouquet made of nails. You see how I punched that nail through and made those flowers? And I'm gonna say that I found the easiest way I could to make flowers for this, to show you, and that when I cut up those coffee filters I mean, it's just so easy. I've seen a lot of different ways to make flowers out of paper. I think mine was just super easy. And the little ones that I rolled up, just rolling them up, pinching them, and they look at that. They look like little rosettes, don't they? I love it. So the coffee filters are also trash. I've got to say, my coffee pot right there. Bought filters, the first, I think, grocery store run, because they needed coffee filters to make coffee. And I bought the wrong ones because it technically takes the V-shaped ones. And so I had this thing of coffee filters, which I don't need, and so I'm using them in crafting. And I love how vibrant those coffee filters came out. And in the video I sort of showed you already, I soaked them and I picked I did like blue water to soak them in, and there was a reason for that because it gives us some, like look at the yellow one, see how there's a little variation in the colors? So by making that base of it blue and then dabbing the paint on, obviously on the blue, you know, it just made it bluer. And anyway, that really gave you some good variation in color, and I let them dry, and then I cut them up, of course. So I love that this little doohickey here was, what came in that? It was the purple, I think I got onions or something came in it. This was like, the green was like a lime bag. So this is just trash that I had. So I love Juanita. I think Juanita came out so cool. I just think she's adorable. I put marker on that hair to vibrant it up, as you saw. And I don't know, I'm just, yeah, I think she came out super cool. Probably better than I thought she was gonna come out. I'm gonna keep Juanita. I'll probably leave her here when I leave, just with a note and say, Juanita's your little, you know, your happy haunt here. So, all right, so which one was your favorite? If I have to be completely honest, I mean, I love Juanita. Like, I love Juanita because she was like really, truly my first trash to craft art piece, whatever. And so she was just, it was just a lot of fun to envision her and make her and do all that. I absolutely love the, never mind, I like them all. Forget it. I can't even. Although, I will say the photo box that I made of pictures of Marcus and I, which is such a cool idea, you guys, and so easy. That will actually go with us when we get into an RV. So I guess Juanita won't. Juanita will probably go live with her Auntie Emma. Okay, all right. So So please comment down below. Let me know which one of those you like the best. Thank you so much. If you made it all the way through this, give me a bottle of champagne emoji and Happy New Year to everybody. I'm going to have one more video out before the end of the year, and it's just a compilation of a lot of photos of the crafts through 2024. So it's just like it's like a movie reel. Look what I made in 2024. Anyway, thanks you guys so much for watching, and I love you all, besties. It was a great year for me moving down here to Mexico and taking my channel in a completely different direction. I'll talk about that in the next video. Okay, so ready? Memories. Like, I used to think it was like the corners of my mind, which doesn't make any sense, right? And then today I'm reading it and it was like, memories, light, like light. The corners of my mind, misty watercolored memories. All right, everybody, have a great day, great week, great life from your singing crafty crafter. Happy hunting. Bargain hunting, that is. All right, we'll see you next time here on Bella's Bargains. Thanks for watching. Toodles. Say goodbye, besties. Till next time.